After quite some hours of walking and running and fighting into beasts you are still trying to become more and more familiar with, you have made it to the outskirts of the Gokun Forest. The party have finally found a place to set up camp. The two of you have found some rest by the fire as three tents are set, with one a bit larger than the others. It is a deep blue tent with gold stitching. It sits between the smaller tents, and it is pretty obvious who sleeps in this one. Decorated with stars and in a nighttime muumuu, Dr. Vadette stands in front of the tent drinking some tea in a wooden cup. As the night sky is filled with stars, what you both say now is up to you.
Kandevi, I think, would approach without much hesitation. I think she would maybe check to see if Milo was around before she did, because I think she's trying to be cautious around him at the moment.
You would have seen that Milo actually went inside of her tent.
Okay, so she would approach with just a very casual, gentle wave.
She'll wave back. As she takes a drink of her tea, she will look towards you. Is there something you need of me?
I think so. If it's not too much to ask.
Well, I am happy to be of service.
I don't claim to know much about what you do, but I'm used to the stars guiding me, and I'm not used to these stars. This is... I'm not great with words. I think what I'm asking is for help.
Help. I believe I can provide that. And on a night like this, it seems quite appropriate. Do come in. And she walks inside of her tent, allowing you to follow her.
And she will.
And you do so, and the inside you see is quite large. It's as if there is a whole separate plane inside of this tent. It goes on for miles, and you can see different rooms, and at the end of this long hallway, you can see stairs leading up to a platform that has upon it a table. The table has a deck of cards sitting on top, and it seems through some sort of magic illusion, stars are shining down light, illuminating this area. Where Milo is, you can't see, but most likely he is in one of the many rooms taking a rest. As the K-tier form of Dr. Vadette walks, she feels a lot more comfortable in this space. And eventually she leads you up to the platform itself and sits behind a large, beautiful blue and gold chair, allowing you to take a seat for yourself.
And Kandevi would, and I think if Dr. Vadette looked at her, she would see her shoulders kind of visibly relax as they step inside. Because even though this is maybe like a strange magic she's not used to, the feeling of camping and being in a tent and the warmth that's around her is very comforting, and she doesn't try to hide that as she sits.
I did this recently with the original 4 Outlanders that ended up at my house of cards. I had no idea that more Outlanders were still alive.
I doubt that I really should be.
You may say that now, but I think fate will have a different answer. Before you sits the deck of cards. You will pick 4 cards in turn. One will represent you. The second, your past. The third, your present. And the fourth, your future. She raises her hand, and you watch as her eyes begin to glow with this beautiful, deep bluish hue. As the cards begin to lift and separate, you can see a bit of the illustration, but they begin to move so fast that you aren't able to capture the images on them as she begins to shuffle them magically before returning them to a stable stack. You may choose your first card, and I would like for you to roll me a 1d44 custom roll.
Okay.
You can do that in the Rollbot channel.
Perfect. Also, fun little fact, because you can't see it, because we're doing this, I do have one of my tarot decks on my lap to like play with and shuffle while we're on call.
That's awesome. Hold on, I need to grab something. My goodness.
Don't die.
The cough. It's the cough. it's
Don't die. The command. Don't you
Yeah,
do
this
it.
isn't a question. Don't die.
It's an order.
Hopefully I do this right. I don't know how to use robot.
Let me double check. Hold on.
I didn't do it right. Command,
No,
help me.
It's exclamation point roll
Okay,
and then 1
Roll.
d44.
thank you.
Not
44?
Together, not together, but separate. Yeah. So
Yeah.
see how I got 30?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I know what's right. Sorry, kids. I did it. 20.
20. Let me look up where that card is. Scrolling. I love randomized lists because I have to scroll forever to find what I'm looking for.
That's the best part.
Without even looking at the card you see depicts that of a feminine figure holding a rod. She is surrounded by stars and dressed in very revealing cloth. She sits on a rabbit and has a look of elation on her face. The name on the card reads Tura. And I will actually.
And how would you spell?
I will actually send you what the card looks like in campaign art.
Yay! Oh, that's really cool. And also very fitting.
Without looking at the card, Dr. Vadette begins to speak. Tura, the druid. It represents your connection to nature, your connection with the earth, from the world you come from. This plane of existence may be different from your own. But in my opinion, the difference between the dirt here and the dirt in your home isn't quite so different. You may choose your second card. And roll another 1d44.
9.
9. Alright, let me scroll. Where are you? There you are. The card you see depicts that of a twin-tailed bird flying freely in front of an eclipsed sun. The name on the card reads Parvola. Once again, without looking at the card, reversed in your hand, Dr. Vadette speaks once more. The bird. It symbolizes freedom, resilience, healing. And in your case, before you even step foot into Sprigonia, you emulated this card very, very well. And for a moment, you see her eyes change from that beautiful, beautiful blue into a almost sandstone yellow. I see. I see you traveling between the sands of a massive desert. That is where you roamed. That is where you flew. Where you could spread your wings and explore freely. You may choose your third card.
Six.
Let me find it on the list.
And as she was talking about her past card, Kandevi's like rapt with attention. As she's talking about the past card, she would be like idly, very gently scratching the back of one of her hands. Whatever she's scratching at being obscured by the wrappings that she has on currently to hide the cracks and the red light.
The card you pull out seems to be that of a cage. Inside of the cage sits an 8-pointed star. The name on the card reads Avarium. Once again, without looking at the card, Dr. Vadette speaks. The cage. It represents your entrapment. Despite your newfound freedom, it did not last long. And her eyes take focus on the ruby seed still implanted in your forehead. But in light of this new cage, there is a chance, a path forward for you to break out of it. The question is, will you have the will to do so? You may choose your final card.
33.
Let me grab the card. Holy shit. The card you pick, your fourth card representing your future, is very strange. It doesn't depict that of a person, but a symbol. A symbol of dots and stars, of moons, of crosses and a crown, upside down. The name on the card reads Rex. Rex. The king. Your path forward would be one of insecurity. I foresee it, and you watch as her eyes begin to glow red, and she begins to almost wince in pain It is because of the cage you found yourself in. Your future is one racked with pain. The only way to avoid finality is through finding yourself. Who are you really? Are you yourself a gem? Or are you the gem that has been planted within you? And she gasps as the imagery on the card begins to slightly change and deviate. And it begins to glow with a slight reddish hue as you begin to hear slight whispers in your head. The card for a moment depicts that of a crowned skull with a snake burrowing through the ear and out the skull's eye. And the card reverses back to normal. Well, that was certainly quite a scare. I did not expect such a thing to happen. It's never happened before. She lifts her hand, and all four of the cards are shown to you once more before they are lifted and shuffled back within the deck. She stands up from her chair and she walks to you, this time with a bit more caution than before. Are you alright?
And Kandevi will nod, as kind of stoic and unfazed as she tends to be. I think so. Thank you for your time with all of this. I've lacked a lot since being here. Direction being one of them, and the cage I'm in, I hope it was worth it so that others don't have to be in one themselves. And I hope that you're right, that the future you saw is one I can overcome. Pain I can deal with, hardship I can deal with, travel and finding myself I can deal with. Not having the next point to travel to, I think, is what scared me most here. So, thank you. And she's genuine, and she'll kind of like nod her head, not in reverence, but in, acknowledgement that this is probably somebody very powerful who's giving her the time of day.
I am glad I was able to speak with you, commune via the stars, to help you find your way. Oh, I do have one request.
Of course.
There is a certain person amongst your ilk that has been, whether intentionally or not, avoiding me. And
she'll smile a little.
And she will smile as well. Perhaps you could bring him over. He is still awake, I presume.
You probably presume correctly. Yes, I can do that. May I request some tea on my way out? It smelled very nice.
I can provide some. And she goes off into a door, and you don't see much past the door. And she eventually comes out from the right direction, and she presents to you a very beautifully made tea set, and she pours you a cup of tea. It smells like a mixture of chamomile and honey, with a bit of with a bit of an orange scent to it as well. It smells very, very well made.
And Kandevi will get a little choked up at the scent of it for just a second before taking the cup and wrapping both hands, probably overlapping her fingers, as fully around it as she can to really feel that warmth. And she'll nod again. He's probably not avoiding you. He's learning how to be brave. I'll go get him.
Very well. I will be waiting. And with that, I'm gonna go mute for a moment so I can eat more food. You can RP.
Yeah, and so with that, Kandevi will, because I'm assuming the other 2 tents, she would know where her boy Masha is staying, and she would she would just walk over and knock on like one of the poles of the tent to be polite, but not actually wait for an answer, and just kind of like push the flap open with her elbow.
Yeah, I imagine he's probably just kind of sitting. The flap probably wasn't even closed. It was open, but he was sitting in there, like his sketchbook in his lap. It's been a while since he was last in nature, so he's probably drawing just whatever he saw on the way to the campsite. Just any plants or landscapes or anything that he can just quickly sketch out. And he'll look up as you enter and glance at your little cup of tea. Probably recognizes that might be. Hi. You were talking to the good doctor, right? How'd it go?
I was. It was enjoyable for the most part, I think. She doesn't bite,
Yeah, I mean, I've heard good things about her.
Well, perhaps you should use that new adventure spark that I've been seeing these past few days and go see what all the hubbub is about, friend.
You think?
And she'll nod and like hold out the cup to offer a sip of the tea.
He'll take a sip. Kind of enjoy the warmth of it for a second.
It tastes extremely good. The feeling you get is not one of overwhelming warmth. It's almost like a hug.
Your sketchbook will still be here when you get back.
I guess I'm the only one here who hasn't done it. Hey.
You don't have to if you really don't want to, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I've maybe been avoiding her a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. For like what, 2 years? Something like that. I guess maybe. If you thought it was a good experience, I trust you, I guess.
I
think I'll kind of take more time than is necessary, like closing up the sketchbook and like putting it back in my bag and like checking on my violin, making sure it's okay, setting that to the side. Just like every action takes a few seconds longer than it really needs to.
I'm just watching this all like clearly amused as I just enjoyed sipping my tea, but I am not leaving yet.
I imagine it's
and
like
then
you're moving at half the frames per second. So Kandevi's at like 60 frames per second. You're moving at 30, and the difference is stark.
Yeah, it's noticeable. But he'll stand up and kind of adjust his clothes, brush off his the dirt off his pants, and look a little sheepishly at Kandevi and say, so this is silly. So feel free to say no, because I know it's late. But would you mind waiting here till I get back?
And Kandevi won't say yes or no. She'll just kind of link arms with him and be like, I'll walk you over. I'll wait outside. Whatever you need, Masha. I will stay.
And then we'll go to Dr. Vadette's tent.
And you're able to. The night is a bit cold, but the warmth that was provided from the tea makes it a bit more bearable. As you are able to go inside of her tent, you're met with the larger than you would assume interior. A long hallway leads up to a platform with a table, and behind said table is Dr. Vadette. As she looks to you, her voice echoes. So, have you finally decided to face fate in the eye?
I mean, do you have to phrase it like that? I guess.
She chuckles a bit and beckons you to come and sit behind the table.
And very different to how he was in his tent. Instead of moving at half the speed, he moves at twice the speed, or like around the table, sits in the chair as quickly as possible. With all of the demeanor of like a 7-year-old that's just gotten in trouble.
You take your time. For lack of a better word, you take your time getting to the table, and eventually you are able to find yourself situated in front of the massive deck of cards before you. Before we begin, I do want to ask, why are you so afraid of what lies ahead and behind of you?
I guess that's the question, and it's just not my preference to think about it, I guess.
Well, I hope tonight we will be able to find the answer together, shall we? You may pick 4 cards. The first represents you, the second, your past, the third, your present, and the fourth, your future. You may pick each in turn. And she looks at you, and you notice that the scales that hang from her horns slightly swing a little bit, as I would like for you to roll me a 1d44.
So is it exclamation point roll 44 or D44?
D44. 1d44.
Worked. 19.
19. Scrolling a little bit. The card you see is a dancing woman bouncing on top of a cloud. A string of pearls between her fingers as it leads up to a glowing sun that shines behind her head. The name on the card reads Vetitus. Vetitus is about represents your bardic trade. I've seen you performing, actually, now that I think about it. You're quite skilled with the viola, are you not?
I'm alright, I guess.
No need to sell yourself short. But this card speaks of your potential and success. Do take it with grace. You may choose your second card.
$39.
Alright, let me get the description up. The card you picked depicts that of a dream catcher. The pattern making up the centerfold of the dream catcher is that of a beautiful constellation you've never seen before. The name on the card reads Resomnium. Resomnium, the dream catcher. It represents the illusion that brought you here. I do wonder, why did you follow the butterfly here?
Just, I think I grew up in an area so devoid of life. Seeing anything, even if it seemed maybe not natural. I had to look into it, I guess.
You watch as her eyes begin to glow a deep black, and you watch as the card itself begins to move slightly. Stars begin to fly up from the card, and they begin to create these beautiful constellations that remind you of home. But at the same time, as these memories begin to play out, one thing is clearly off. The tree of life remains dead. Depicted so clearly, it's as if you're standing right in front of it. The once beautiful tree that filled Altif with life is gone. As the constellations begin to dissipate, the stars return back to the card. Her eyes return to normal. You may choose your third card.
$38 this time.
Give me 1 second while I find it. Where the hell is this card? Alright, there it is. I found it.
He's truly a mystery, man. His present is unscrutable.
Look, if I had like an actual deck of these cards, it would be so much easier. It would be so much easier, dude. I'm doing this through his freaking Google Doc. The card you pick depicts that of a beautiful mermaid. You've heard various tales of mermaids when you were back in Sinceris. They were rare, but not unfounded. The mermaid itself seems to be jumping into a beautiful eclipse surrounded by starlight, and you notice the eclipse is beginning to end as the sun itself looks like it's in a crescent formation behind a beautiful black moon. The name on the card reads Sireneer. And you notice the card is reversed. Sprigonia, serenity. You've long held peace within your own mind, even when coming to this place. I believe that is why you never came to me. But now that peace has been distilled, do you think it was a good thing that you met the other Outlanders?
I suppose that's still in question. I barely know most of them. They don't know me very well at all.
Sorry, I'm eating. Even so, being with them finally led you to me. Perhaps it wasn't so bad after all. You may choose your final card.
And as he goes to pick the last one, his hand will kind of hover over the deck, and he'll look at her and he'll say, "This one's for the future, right?"
She nods.
This is like... Is this sort of an all or nothing sort of deal? Like, we can't stop here, right?
But we must. See, think of it like this. The future is not the end of a story. It is not the end of the book. Think of it as a bookmark of a story that you are writing. Once you reach that bookmark, it is up to you whether you wish to keep it on the page or to take it away.
Okay. I guess I'll sort out what that means later, and then I'll grab a card. 24.
Actually, I want you to roll me something in addition to that. I want you to
Okay.
roll me a 1d2.
That would be a 1.
The card you pick out depicts a beautiful white star shining 8-sided, brighter than any star you've ever seen. It's as if the card itself is glowing. The name on the card reads Alstella. Alstella, the white star. She smiles as she looks at you. It symbolizes hope. It foresees your path ahead. It's filled with trials and tribulation. But the card foresees victory. Hope for others and hope for yourself as well. Is Masha okay?
Masha's just kind of he's just kind of staring at the card. Just kind of
The more you stare at it, the more
punched over the table.
you start to notice that it's as if the cards themselves are slightly animated, and the halo that is around the white star begins to move slightly with your eye movement.
I think he'll stare at it for just a few more moments. And then he'll kind of sit up and push the cards back towards Dr. Vadette in sort of a timid, I guess that's it, are we done here sort of gesture. And he, after that long moment of staring at it, and once he pushes it away, he's going to stop looking at it. He's just going to kind of look at his lap for a little bit.
You are processing, I see. Was the reading able to provide you with a bit more insight?
I don't know. I think, if anything, I'm a bit more jumbled up than I was before.
Well, if you have a moment, do speak with your newfound friends.
Maybe this is a stupid question, and I shouldn't even ask it, but do you think there's a meaning to it? Like all of us Outlanders ending up in the same place?
Well,
Sort of a why us question.
no one truly knows why. The Butterfly Queen has casted you onto these lands. The lands that she herself are the reason for being so cursed. But I have a theory. Not long after the Butterfly Queen took the throne, many were asking if she would ever find a king to rule by her side. The only issue was, she is immortal. Any mortal that would fall for her, become your king, would soon die out. And yet, she found love. The man was kind, understood her and all her woes, and he was to become her king. But it wasn't known. After he was crowned, he came down with sickness. It was told to us that the king had passed, and Sprigonia, the butterfly queen, has been grieving ever since. I don't know why, but I feel as if you being here may be a way for her to see her husband once more. I don't know how. But to summon so many people from a realm far from our own, there has to be a purpose to it. Maybe you will be the ones to truly change this kingdom, help her overcome her grief. Or no, it is best not said. She shakes her head as a thought begins to peer into her mind for a moment and is halted. She lifts her hand and gathers the cards up before shuffling them once more. To be well, I'm going to go check on Milo. And she does just that, leaving you at the table.
You know, like just before she leaves, I think I'll say, I think maybe I do know why I was scared to do this.
She looks at you for a moment.
And that first card, the bard, from a really young age, that's what I've done, I've always played the fool, and, this big talk of ancient queens and kings and finding love and magic and all that big talk. That's not what the fool does. The fool tells the story. They don't participate in that. Before she even says anything, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to start to leave.
As you begin to exit the tent, you do hear her voice echo one last thing. Perhaps it is different in your world, but in Sprigonia, we are the arbiters and authors of our own story. I wonder, what will be yours when all is said and done? And you leave.
True to her word, Kandevi would have been waiting literally just outside the tent for him, probably just staring up at the sky.
I think when Masha comes out, he doesn't seem anxious like he did before, but he also doesn't seem upbeat or anything. He seems... It's probably the most blank-faced you've ever seen him.
And I think Kandevi wouldn't be blind to that. It's been a while, but Masha was like the only person here that she did get close to before everything. So she would just kind of silently link her arm with his again and start to walk him back. Whatever quip she might have made dying on her tongue as she sees him. And it wouldn't be like a pitiful look that she gives him or silence or anything, but she would just kind of squeeze his arm and head back as if it's a normal night.
Hey, this is gonna sound weird, but I guess thanks for being strong enough to survive what you did. I'm really glad to have you back.
And the shock, like the surprise, is visible on her face. She is not expecting that. And her eyes will get a little glossed over before she kind of just nods, smiles, doesn't say anything, and she'll just pull Masha in for a hug.
And he'll hug back before kind of awkwardly stepping back and pointing at his tent and being like, it's late. We should probably get some sleep. Got a lot of ground to cover. To go see a ghost girl.
At his awkwardness,
good night.
she'll break and she will laugh at that. And kind of, she'll push him a little, like very lightly. Sleep well. Glad that the reading didn't kill you. And she'll saunter back to her tent.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't either.
And she's still laughing.
As you two enter your tents, closing them for the night, what you don't see is shining high in the sky. Shines a star brighter than all the rest as its light casts down on Sprigonia. And that is where we'll end this mini session.
Oh,
That was so fun.
he's a star.
She's a star.
He's a star.